Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video. Today we're going to do a character guide on Strago. So I've got to have the Final Fantasy VI love here, my favorite game. Enjoy using characters from this game. So Strago's a pretty interesting character. He's somewhat one-dimensional in a way. He's very much just a damage dealer. He does have a few cool things in his kit though that are kind of unique that we'll talk about in this video. So we're going to look at his artifacts, his spheres. I'll talk about his force enhancements really quick. I'm just going to say for characters like Strago, he's what I would call a standard force enhanced character where the buffs are pretty universal for most characters. The more you do, the better your buffs are going to get. The really important one is the force time up, which maxes out at level 23. So level 23 is where you want to go to max that out. The general thing I'd say about any character is if it's a character you're going to use a lot that you really like, I would take them all the way to 30. Otherwise, if you're not investing heavily, I just take them to 10 because I have character points to do that. But if you don't have character points to spare, I wouldn't put any points into a character unless you intend to use them. If you're just kind of collecting them and you're not really sure about them, try them out a little bit and see what you like. But if you're intent on taking them into Shinryu fights, you probably want to get them to 23 at least. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the passives here. So Strago is a magic damage dealer. He works better in AoE fights. I'd say single target, his damage is actually kind of underwhelming. So you need that AoE fight to have AoE damage in there. Artifacts, what you want to do is you want to go, oh, wow, I haven't even finished his artifacts yet, but you want to go attack 108 and the Age Mage of Tamasa up. So max brave and attack will be increased with that. So that's what you want to do for that. And then on the spheres, for the spheres, he's 3 A slots, so you're going to have a lot of choices here. You can go attack or brave damage, but Strago actually benefits a lot from brave damage overflow spheres. So like his own has like a brave overflow. So the ones that are the brave overflow, it says raises the limit of brave that may be stolen in excess of max brave by 5%. So this has attack and that brave limit overflow on it. So his own sphere is probably one of the best ones you can put on him. And I would say like Cyan from Final Fantasy VI is also a good one because that also is doing attack and brave limit up, and they can be stacked. So I stacked 2 Cyan spheres and a Strago sphere on there. So I would say something like that is a pretty decent setup. Otherwise, you can just use any standard like attack or brave damage up spheres that you want to use there. All right, so let's go ahead and hop into the showcase. Sure, we'll just hop in with this team. That's fine. I'm just going to hop into the Lufenia fight. I think that's what I chose here. Yeah, we're just hopping into the Lufenia. We just want to show him off really quick. We're not going to do anything too crazy here. Just to kind of show you how he works and what he does, right? So the big thing with Strago, he has a ridiculously important buff called Soul of Tamasa, which he doesn't start with it on. What happens is if he has Soul of Tamasa on, basically it gives him dual cast. So this is actually this actually mimics a relic from Final Fantasy VI. So in Final Fantasy VI you can equip relics, and Soul of Tamasa is a relic you can equip that basically gives you dual cast. So what you want to do is you actually want to start with his AA. So his AA is going to put Soul of Tamasa up. Now Soul of Tamasa will be refreshed by his LD and his skill 2, the Brave 2 Death. So that's what those will be used on. Now at this point, you can hop into whatever move you want to. You'll see his skill uses are quite low. Brave 2 Death only has 4 turns. Quasar has 6, and he does get an HP plus called Dual Cast. So once in a while to save skill uses, you might want to use that. He does get free turns though. I believe it's every time he uses his EX. It's his EX or his LD. He gets free turns. We'll see when we do this video. It's been a while since I've used him. But basically, all of these attacks are going to attack twice. Now, Soul of Tamasa lasts 3 turns. So you want to upkeep this. So usually what happens is when it gets down to 1, you want to use a skill that refreshes it. Or if you use a different skill and it goes down to 0, then you just want to use the AA to refresh it. So let's go ahead and let's start with Quasar. Quasar is kind of like your go-to like a standard attack move. So you see it's going to be AoE attack and then it's going to trigger twice. Now you can see his damage isn't like the most insane even with doing the double damage there. So like it's always full AoE damage though. So like in 3 team fights and once you have him, my Strago isn't like maxed out equipped. Like he could have better armor, he could have a better weapon, things like that. But this is kind of the standard, like he's full kitted, but he's like pretty low invested, right? Let's let Crowd just do her EX, I guess. I should have done Ray of Hope first, but that's fine. Okay. And then we'll just let Penelo. Sure, let's put 1 haste on. And then we'll just attack through. Or we'll do the LD. Sure. So a couple of things that Strago has that's kind of unique is his skill 2, which is that Brave 2 Death. Basically, it will instant break an enemy as long as their Brave is an even number. So as long as their Brave is an even number, basically if it's divisible by 2 evenly, it will auto break them, which is cool. The LD also auto breaks, which is pretty cool as well. So it will unbreak and then auto breaks, which is really cool. So, and then what happens is that increases the Soul of Tomasa count as well. The EX does it, and Brave 2 Death. So he's got multiple skills that will refresh it. Basically, Quasar or the HP Plus are the only skills you'd be using that don't refresh the Soul of Tomasa. So if it ever runs out, then you just use the AA to refresh it. But otherwise, the way he's kind of set up right now, you're going to basically just be keeping that up. Now, where Strago really gets his power is from his EX. I think if you're spamming his EX, that's where he's doing the really impressive damage in his C90 form. So we'll go ahead and do that. But you can see because the LD, because we have Soul of Tomasa up, the LD triggers twice, so it actually unbreaks and breaks them twice. So it kind of is like a delay move. It'll push them back twice. So that is actually a pretty interesting move to be able to do his LD twice. And it also works on his EX, right? And just so you know, like, he gets, from his 15 and 35 and LD, he gets a buff called Descendant of the Magi, which just does kind of a generic stat buff. And then from the EX, he gets the Soul of Tomasa, and then he also gets one called Regained Hope. Regained Hope also just gives him more damage. So basically, throughout his skills, you're just looking at refreshing his buffs, making sure that you keep those up. Here, let's do a Ray of Hope here. All right, and then let's go ahead and do Thunder maybe. All right, so Strago doesn't quite have the EX up yet. So now we have a free skill use. So usually on the free skill use, you'd use Quasar. We'll use Brave 2 Death here. You're going to see the damage actually isn't great. The big thing with it is just that it auto breaks if you need it to auto break, if they have even Brave, right? Okay. So for me, the reason why Strago kind of fell off, I think if you're someone that specializes in Strago, like, there are ways to really maximize him and make him do crazy things. And I think in 3 enemy fights, he's actually looking really good. But in 1 enemy fights, he's kind of like the Twins, right? Where the Twins get really unimpressive in like low enemy fights. I think Strago is kind of the same way. Let's go ahead and get Strago up again, if we can. Let's see, Kryl. Sure, let's do a EX here. I want to get Strago's EX off here, but it takes a while to charge up the first time. Once you get that first charge, then it's a little bit more reasonable. All right, don't worry about that. Phone, you're going to make it through this video here. We're just going to sneak through. Yeah, they can go ahead and paralyze. That's fine. All right, so Strago's got the EX. So we want to make sure Soul of Tomasa should be up. Yep, it's at 3. So let's go ahead and do the EX here. So the EX here, once again, we're getting a couple of buffs. We're going to get a free ability use on the next turn. And you can see very good damage, right? That's like 1 mil AoE. So Strago maybe didn't look crazy up to that point, but once you see the power of the EX, he's looking really good. So if you really want to utilize Strago, here's what you do. You take him into a 2 or 3 enemy fight. You bring in Kryl or Penelo with a force time. And so let's say you did like Strago, Penelo, and Kane, or Strago, Penelo, and Kryl, just like we have here, right? I was going to say, actually, we're going to die here, aren't we? Oh, Strago just hanging on to life. Even in the Lufenia, these bosses are just aggressive enough, kind of annoying. But what you do with Strago is you combo him with the Bahamut summon. So, you know what we'll do? Let's maybe try to get that to work here a little bit. I think I'm just going to Quasar here. That's typically like on your free skill uses. So Strago doesn't have a lot of initial skill uses, but he gets a lot of free turns. So the EX really helps expand him out, because you're getting a free turn every time you use the EX. But you can see his skills, his damage, like, just isn't crazy until you get that EX going, right? Let's go ahead. I kind of want to heal up a little bit here. All right. So here's what we're going to do. Strago is kind of pushed back a little bit. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna see how much damage we can do in a force time EX with this guy. So let's go ahead. Or here, let's actually cure. Thought I cured, but I pressed the wrong button. Okay. Now I know this is just a Lufenia fight, so we're not gonna get like a ton of damage out of this. Let's put an AA on. Okay, and then let's go ahead and do the force time. And then what we're gonna do is we are going to use Cryle to just like mega charge it. And then we're just going to go into Bahamut Summon with Strago and just do some massive, massive damage. All right, so we've got that. So this isn't like optimized in any way because normally like we would have Kane up in the air or something to do damage. We're just going to attack because I want to get through her turn quickly because we're in force time now. All right, so Cryle is just going to Ray of Hope like crazy here. So let's go ahead and let's Ray of Hope. Let's just do some insane... We're going to do something for fun here, guys. Normally what I do is I stop charging my HP damage at about like turn 4 or 5. Let's just charge this almost as high as we can with like maybe 2 turns left or something crazy. Maybe we'll go down to 3. Let's just make this go really high and let's see what kind of nuke we can get with one. Like this one Strago EX is going to take the enemies out. It's basically what's going to happen. Let's just charge the crap out of this sucker. Sure. We're not doing all the off-turn damage, so this isn't the way you'd normally want to do this. You'd want to have some off-turn damage going in there. Actually, we might be to a point where we're just going to use up almost all of the Ray of Hopes. I got to be careful, though, because Cryle could one-shot them here, so I know it's crazy, but Cryle might just... We'll do one more Ray of Hope. And then I think I'm just going to do Summon phase and have Cryle just do like a Brave attack. So let's go ahead and... Yeah, let's just go and Summon. This is going to do a lot of damage just from the summon, yeah. Okay, and then Cryle, I know this is crazy. Well, I still have 2 turns left. Let's do one more Ray of Hope, I guess. Okay, so 653% here. Let's just do a Brave attack because Cryle would nuke. All right, and let's get a Strago EX here. 683%. Let's see how much this EX does. I'm expecting to see the victory screen here, by the way. Let's see what we can do with a Strago nuke. Oh, God, this damage is going to be crazy. Give me that victory screen. Yep. 6 mil AoE. So, Strago has potential, right? Like, if you, like, with the force gauge and stuff, like, his EX is super powerful. It's just outside of the EX, his damage is pretty weak. You're really just looking at the instant breaks from him. But there you go. There's Strago doing a 6 mil nuke. So, anyways, guys, hope you like this guide. Thanks for watching, and we will catch you all on the next one.